Hello.
In the great galaxy of education, it was the best of terms, it was the worst of terms. My travels began once upon a time in the Rhondda Valley. I got up, washed, showered and shaved, ate my bran, checked the crossword and went to work. As it turned out, I might have been better advised to stay at home. It depends how you feel about murder, corruption and organized crime. I have always been against them. On the other hand, I have always been in favor of love. A tricky little conundrum and very like life.
What a piece of work.
Eh?
What is it?
Well, new Vice-Chancellor, new logo. I'm told it's a computer-generated leak, plus our initials. New University of the Rhondda Valley.
Nerve.
Precisely. We've got a nerve.
You're not impressed with the new Vice-Chancellor?
Moody by name, moody by nature. Believes in the power of the logo. Oh, such men are dangerous.
You may well be right.
Room 15 of the library. New sign to read Information Resource Center. With logo. Room 16, typewriter, apparently. Why does anybody need a typewriter? Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Room 17, laughter.
Laughter. The horse that liked to sit on eggs. The second greatest joke in the world. Jokes, like religious faith, can be described but not explained. Everything that matters is a mystery. Disregard the universal. Pursue the trivial, preferably sideways. Truth is never on the main road. It is more likely to be found on a side street or in an alleyway around the back. Now, of course, some people wonder why we waste our time asking such questions here at the Rhondda Valley. Shouldn't we leave such matters to the wise old philosophers of Oxford? No, we should not. Oxford has dreaming spires. We have brooding shacks. But never forget, Jesus Christ, D.H. Lawrence, Charlie Chaplin, Billie Holiday were all children of the shacks. That's all, folks.
I wanted to ask about Groucho Marx and T.S. Eliot.
Walk with me. We'll talk on the way.
Do you really think that Ezra Pound's the greatest comedian of the 20th century?
I'd place him equal first with Jean-Luc Godard and Stanley Baldwin.
What about Freud?
His singing let him down. We'll discuss it next week. I have an appointment with God. Come on. He may be the son of God. I believe they're still counting the vote. Good morning, Mr. Moody.
Oliver, Humanities Department.
Well done, Vice-Chancellor.
Sorry? Oh, please.
Oh. Yeah, one small sherry party and you know all our names. That's very impressive.
I don't know anybody's names. I'm just very good at accessing information.
Oh, well, accessing information is almost the same as remembering things, isn't it?
I had to learn this. I taught myself, as a matter of fact.
You taught yourself computer technology?
Yeah. Social and economic history, that was my field. But when I saw what was happening in the real world...
Ah, yes, the real world.
Survival of the fittest, adapt or die. I realized that history was,
a thing of the past.
Oh, you teach, comparative religion?
My chosen specialist subject. I originally planned to bowl off spinners for England and play a cool jazz tenor saxophone, but somehow I drifted.
And you've been here over 20 years, which means you would qualify for our maximum redundancy payment.
Excellent. When you say redundancy payment, do you mean redundancy payment?
Yes.
There is no room for comparative religion in your philosophy?
Well, there's no room in our market strategy. You are, to use your own words, a thing of the past. No, it gives me no pleasure to convey this information.
May I look at my information?
Oh, yes, of course.
There's an asterisk beside my name. Is that good?
It means my wife will be talking to you about your leaving present.
Good morning, Oliver. Salve multum amice.
Good morning, Boswell. I wish you an asterisk.
What?
Morning. Morning.
Mr. Boswell.
Mrs. Moody.
First of all, I have to say on behalf of the Vice-Chancellor and the University how sorry we are that we're losing you.
There is no place for me in your husband's philosophy.
I'm deeply sorry.
I expected it from the first moment.
You did?
A letter arrived from your husband inviting me to meet him at a sherry party. It was signed T.H. Moody.
Theodore Horatio. Family names, God help us.
But don't you see, it's an anagram of thy doom. Oliver, I said to myself, prepare to meet thy doom, and I did.
Do you base all your life's decisions on anagrams?
I'm an old trivial quiz and crossword buff. There's no known cure.
What about Oliver?
There's no satisfactory anagram of my name in the English language.
And what would this old trivial quiz and crossword buff like as a leaving present?
Well, in the best of all possible worlds, you.
Me?
When your husband introduced us at the sherry party, he said, this is my wife, Norma.
Not another anagram.
Fire. Woman. You give off heat, Mrs. Moody. Which is more or less than I can say for your husband.
I'm not on offer.
What is on offer?
A set of matching suitcases.
But I wasn't planning to go anywhere.
But my husband's done a deal.
Well, in that case, I shall just have to go somewhere.
Your Boeing 747.
Sorry?
On your board, it says Boeing 747.
Oh, that is just a reminder of something I read recently. If a passenger farts on a Boeing 747, or on any other jet airliner for that matter, no smell is given off. The world's leading scientists cannot explain this phenomenon.
And SSM?
Oh, I have to buy semi-skimmed milk on my way home.
Oh.
Imagine, once upon a time, typewriters were made in Great Britain.
Imagine typewriters. Were you ever married?
Long ago.
When there were typewriters?
And coal mines. She left me on cut final day in 1979. Boring old Arsenal beat Manchester United's gallant lads 3-2 in a pulsating finish, and she wanted me to talk to her.
I don't blame her for leaving you.
Oh, neither do I. I understand now. I'm feeling the chill of middle age. I need the warmth of a good woman.
Bullshit.
Also, I know something very funny about sex, and you'll never know what it is. May I be the 7th? Or be it the 8th?
9th.
9th? person to thank the university for this magnificent gift. These splendid matching suitcases symbolize for me the new age of reason that is sweeping across the campus. The broom handle firmly controlled by the Vice-Chancellor. Verily, a university for the 21st century. One or two people, though maybe not as many as that, have asked me about my plans for the future. I am going to pack my matching suitcases and set off on a journey in search of Aristotle. I'm sure you'll agree that that's enough to keep anyone out of mischief.
Who's next?
Mr. Boswell,
Late of.
Classics Department.
Mr. Boswell, reader in classics.
Monstrum horrendum, informing gens qui lumen ademptum.
Who the hell's Aristotle?
Greek philosopher. 384, 322 BC. Now deceased.
Correct. But I'm not looking for that Aristotle. Mine's contemporary.
A philosopher?
A crossword compiler. The best in the business. The Times, The Observer, The Listener, rest its soul. We've corresponded for many years.
About anagrams?
Nothing as simple as that, no. The more complicated of his clues. I always promised I'd pay him a visit when the moment arrived.
Stars in their orbit.
As Mr. McLuhan almost said, the suitcases are the message. This could be the end of a really beautiful friendship. What a piece of work.
Oh, thank you. Oh, another one for the gold watch, is it?
Yes.
I remember when this place was an Italian prisoner of war camp. At night you could hear them singing operatic arias to compensate for pasta deficiency.
Really?
Some nights I can still hear them.
I'm sure.
But you're a lucky man. You made your escape.
Mm-hmm. What's this?
Your leaving present. The Miles Davis Birth of the Cool album to replace the one I stole. A biography of Max Miller and a box of licorice horses.
All my favourite things.
We thought you'd probably have enough suitcases.
How could you possibly order too many? You were supposed to double-check first thing this morning.
I forgot.
You forgot.
Yes, I started the crossword and I forgot.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You never do the crossword.
Well, I do now. Until recently, I didn't do the crossword, but now I do. I've changed.
You don't change. That is the whole point of marriage.
You did. You were a social historian, and now?
Now what?
Now you're not a social historian. Did you know that social historian is almost an anagram of a cool shit rains?
What?
I'm working at it.
One of us is losing his or her mind. Hers, I suspect.
Just be careful. You're speaking to Firewoman. You could get burned.
A week or two later, quite early one morning, I set off on my travels. Oliver's travels. I left the new University of the Rhondda Valley to darkness and the Vice-Chancellor. As I approached Aristotle's house, I felt like Columbus must have felt when first sighting America. Or myself, first hearing Beethoven and Lester Young. Or seeing Stanley Matthews and Leonard Hutton.
I don't suppose any of you remember the man who used to live here? Aristotle? Eminent compiler of quizzes and crosswords? Aristotle isn't his real name, of course. I don't know his real name. You're right. There could be a problem. All right. I understand. You're just cheap. You just keep your heads down and graze. Thanks, anyway. Stay cool.
Right. A missing person.
Yes.
Name and address?
Mine or the missing person's?
Well, let's start with the missing persons.
That's the hard one.
In what way?
I don't know him by his real name.
What name do you know him by, then?
Aristotle. But that's a pseudonym.
We prefer to call it an alias. Do you know him by his real address?
It's a cottage just off the road to Abergavenny. But I was there earlier today, and it's deserted. Also, it looks as if there's been a fire.
Well, we're great boys for burning down houses, ridding ourselves of the English imperialist yoke. Now, this friend of yours, what's he doing when he's at home? Bearing in mind he's not at home, otherwise he wouldn't be here.
He compiles crosswords.
Can you give me a description of him?
Oh, no. I've never met him.
Sounds like a job for Princess Di. Would you come this way?
The missing person.
Oh, I'm not missing. I'm here.
No. In case of the missing person.
Yes.
Well, the sergeant gave me the broad outline of your problem.
Forgive my impertinence, but you're not Princess Di.
WPC Priest.
Priest?
But my first name is Diane. Calling me Princess Di is what passes in the police force for a joke.
I have a great respect for law and order, but I don't think much of that joke.
Oh, it stinks.
The priest is a coincidence.
Is it?
Until I was made redundant, I used to teach comparative religion at a training college, which became a poly, which has now become a new university. Hence my redundancy.
Well, I haven't spotted the coincidence.
Religion. Priest. Yes.
Oh, I see. That's the coincidence.
Well, I agree it's not a major coincidence, but it is moderately charming.
As long as you're not a priest.
Absolutely not. Although I've heard a few confessions in my time. And obviously, I have working knowledge of all the world's major religions. Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Rastafarianism, the 57 varieties of Christianity. They all seem to end up killing each other. No. It's rather like working on quality control in a chocolate factory. You say, yes, here is a perfectly acceptable coffee cream and a more than adequate hazelnut cluster. But you go elsewhere when you need real food, real sustenance. I'm a non-believer, though I have my gods.
Haven't we all?
Oh, yes. Lester Young, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk.
What about the women? What about Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith?
Unquestionably. And not forgetting William Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, George Faulkner, Anton Chekhov, and Jimmy James, Sandy Powell, Max Wall, Jack Benny.
And Aristotle.
Yes.
You're a missing person.
A god of the highest magnitude. And I would very much like to find him.
If we discover anything to your advantage, we'll contact you at your hotel.
Yes. I'm here for a couple of days. Staying at the Three Tunes.
The 3 tons.
Sorry. Is it tons? I was wearing the wrong glasses when I checked in. Well, thank you for your help and courtesy. I shall tell all my old radical friends from the campus that they are totally wrong about police harassment and corruption.
You're playing that game again.
Game? What game?
Pass the loony.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl. You'll have to explain what you mean.
Anyone who comes through that door with a loony problem, they all end up with me.
Well, it's done with the best of intentions.
Well, to keep me out of the way, while the big, strong men get on with the proper, grown-up police work. Like picking winners?
Friday. Looked for Aristotle. Failed. Cottage burnt. Went to police station. Met policewoman. Priest. Well. Returned to hotel. Made coffee. Spilt milk. No use crying.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I found your friend Aristotle.
You have? How amazing. Where is he?
The Orkneys.
The Orkneys?
They're a small group of islands off the north coast of Scotland.
Yes, I know where they are. I'm just very impressed by your speed of action and response.
It's all part of the job, sir.
Would you like to sit down? Join me. Brandy, coffee, wine. You're just in time for the floor show.
I think I've earned a glass of wine.
I suppose you have the National Police computer to make things easier for you.
I didn't use the computer.
Are you allowed to tell me how you did it?
Well, just this once. I telephoned a national newspaper and I said, you have a famous crossword compiler called Aristotle. Do you know where he lives? And the person at the other end of the phone said, the Orkneys.
Astonishing.
It isn't in the least astonishing. You could have done it yourself.
Well, I suppose I could, but...
But what?
It was too obvious. I would never have thought of it. Obviously, if I had thought of it, I would have done it. And I didn't. I came to you. To you. Thank you, Mrs. Priest.
Call me Diane, not Priest.
If you wish.
I inherited the missus from my ex-marriage and the priest from my ex-husband. And I've just about got rid of them both.
Diane. Not Priest.
What is it?
Nothing.
You were right.
What about?
The hotel. It's called the Three Tunes.
Oh, yes. I checked with the management. It used to be called the Three Tunes, but the man who owns the place is a jazz fan, so he renamed it after his three favourite tunes: Mood Indigo, Lover Man, and Blue Monk. Would you be good enough to tell me yours?
My what?
Favourite tunes? By your music shall I know thee.
God Bless the Child, The Wearing of Green, and Mary from the Dairy.
3 beautiful songs. Beautifully sung.
I have to be at work in the morning.
I'll walk with you.
I don't need masculine protection.
Oh, and certainly not mine. I have the body of a weak and feeble man. But I'm deeply indebted for your help, Diane. You've given me a direction for my life.
North.
And if I can do anything in return to help you...
Like what?
Well, any old unsolved crimes, things your people have grown weary of.
What do you specialize in? Arson? Breaking and entering? Murder?
I'd be rather good at murder, if you've any in stock.
Last year, a man called Griffiths, found dead. A farmer.
Murdered in his red barn.
No. Floating face down in the river.
And you're still working on it?
Well, not me. I get stuck with the wandering loonies and the missing persons.
You shall put the guilty party behind bars. Never fear. Good night.
Good night.
I should explain. I'm not a poll taxpayer.
Join the club.
I beg your pardon, you misunderstand. I've paid my community charge. Well, the first installment. But not here. See, I'm not local. I'm a wayfaring stranger.
You're a tourist.
On my way to the Orkneys.
You must read George Mackay Brown.
I have, with enormous admiration.
So, is it an atlas you need?
No, I'd like to see back numbers of your local newspapers. I'm doing a small research project for a friend. It concerns homicide.
You'll have to fill in a form. Inevitable, I'm afraid. Just your name and address.
I'm very good at writing my name and address. I could do it when I was 4 years old. Though, of course, I've moved house several times since then. Had I really joined the ranks of the great detectives? Sherlock Holmes, Miss Marple, Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe. Should I be moseying down to the 87th precinct? Should I be hanging loose downtown? Oh, even uptown? And was I brave enough to walk down the mean streets? I would soon find out. May I have the same again, please?
Tonic water, is it?
On the rocks with a twist of lime.
Driving, are we?
Yes.
Tourist?
Passing through. Looking up one or two old friends.
Tonic water, as requested.
Though most of them seem to have left the area. Heading north.
Your friends?
Except for the one who was murdered.
You owe me 85 pence.
Mr. Griffiths, a farmer.
What about him?
According to the newspapers, this is the last place he was seen alive.
Isn't that always the case with dead people?
They all drink here.
There is always a place where they are last seen alive. Obviously, that is a fact of life.
A fact of life. About death. Quite so.
Good day, sir. Ah. Have you lost someone else?
No.
I believe we tracked down you, Mr. Aristotle.
This is a separate issue. I need to speak to W.P.C. Priest.
In what connection?
I have information to share.
What kind of information?
Information that could lead to an early arrest.
One moment, sir.
Well, we can check, of course. Good morning. What can I help you?
The village idiot wants to see you.
Where are we going?
To a secret place.
The sergeant was right. You are a 24-carat loony.
I've twice been specialist question setter for Mastermind.
Is that right?
The life and work of the jazz musician Lester Young and the life and work of the dramatist George Farquhar. Would a public corporation entrust such work to a loony?
Us.
And I have things to tell you which need to be said in seclusion.
What sort of things?
Two things. One highly professional, the other deeply personal. Almost intimate.
My mother warned me about intimate things. She's been right so far.
I think we should deal with the professional matter first.
Oh, I think so too, definitely.
And then...
You can offer me the sweeties later.
A year ago, quite early one morning, just as the sun was rising, the body of a farmer called Griffiths was found there, floating face down.
I know. I told you that.
The cause of death was a blow to the back of the head.
That was in the paper.
Police inquiries were carried out by Superintendent Butler of the Mid-Glamorgan Crime Squad.
That was also in the papers.
Note the surveyors at work in the field, then come with me.
The previous night, Griffiths had been drinking in his local pub. That one. Superintendent Butler's theory was that Griffiths had had an argument in the pub which turned into a fight in the car park which rendered him deceased, after which this psychotic and argumentative stranger drove to the bridge and dropped the body into the water. There were no witnesses to any of these highly dramatic events.
Well, have you got a better theory?
I spotted a truck outside. Kelsey Brothers, plumbers and glaziers. My first theory was that Griffiths had been murdered in the car park by either Colonel Mustard or Miss Scarlett, with the lead piping. Plumbers sell lead piping. Elementary, my dear W.K.C.
Oh, take me back to the office.
But I was in the wrong plot.
What?
You should arrest Superintendent Butler of the Mid-Glamorgan Crime Squad. Over there, the Griffiths farm. Been in the family for generations.
I know.
Did you know that somebody was trying to buy his land to turn it into a golf course,
A driving range and leisure complex.
There was a rumour at the time, but it didn't seem relevant to the murder.
A company called 19th Hole Developments PLC. They've started already. I've shown you the surveyors.
Somebody wanted to buy his land. He didn't want to sell, and you want me to arrest Superintendent Butler?
In view of the fact that Superintendent Butler is a major shareholder in 19th Hole Developments PLC, in his wife's name, of course.
Do you know?
It was in a golfing magazine, in the reference library. Mind you, I doubt whether your Mr. Butler wielded the blunt instrument on the night. It was probably a close personal friend or hired assassin.
How did you work it out?
When confronted with a murder mystery, I always assume the butler did it.
Oh.
But none of this is very important.
You want me to arrest a senior police officer, and you tell me it's not important?
Oh, don't be cross with me. I haven't got to the personal and intimate bit.
Go on, then. Tell me the personal and intimate bit.
Do you remember what you said to me in the hotel last night?
Aristotle's in the Orkneys.
Not that. I tried to call you Mrs. Priest. And you said to me, Diane, not Priest.
Diane, not Priest.
Those words are a perfect anagram of predestination.
What's predestination got to do with it?
As I understand it, in simple terms, and without wishing to embarrass you, it means we were sent on this earth to be together.
Holy Mother of God. Take me back to the police station, please.
As you wish. I think I should inform you that I am perfectly sound in limb, wind, and brain cell.
That I have a small but comfortable house. I'm very clean in my personal habits. I have in my time been a bit of a flirt.
Shall we say 11 o'clock in the morning?
What about it?
Outside the hotel. Suitcase packed.
I'm not spending the rest of my life with you. I'm not coming to the Orkneys with you. I'm not prepared to change my life because of a bloody anagram.
It makes as much sense as any of the world's religions. I know. I've checked them all.
Just go away. Forever.
If I do, you'll never find out.
What?
The very funny thing I know about sex.
Yeah. Each way, crossed and doubled. How's the loony? You still in one piece?
I don't know. I'll have to go somewhere very quiet and check.
You all right?
Sergeant, if you heard something very serious, even incriminating, about a senior officer in the regional crime squad, what would you do?
Apply Plan A and keep my mouth shut.
What about Plan B?
I never heard of a Plan B. Describe it to me.
You double-check the files, you make a couple of phone calls. If the story hangs together, you have a quiet word with the chief.
I think my Plan A makes more sense than your Plan B. It guarantees survival. That is why A comes before B in the alphabet.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, here I am. What a very pleasant surprise, Vice-Chancellor.
No, not pleasant.
No?
Shall I tell you what I'd really like to do?
Yes, please.
I'd like to take you outside.
Why?
And settle this the old-fashioned way.
You mean by fighting?
Obviously.
Oh, but you're younger than me and fitter. You jog and play squash. It wouldn't be fair, would it?
I don't want it to be fair.
No. Why don't you come in here, have a nice cup of tea, and tell me what the matter is?
You are destroying my marriage.
Excellent.
What?
Chocolate digestives, my favorite.
It began when she started doing crosswords. She's never done crosswords. Now my life is dominated by anagrams, acronyms, word games.
Unchecked, it can become an obsession.
Shall I tell you what happened last night? I decided we needed a new committee.
They never come amiss.
I told Norma about it. I said it was for the Departmental Investigation of Vital Organizational Research and Corporate Enterprise, and she said that spells divorce.
Yes, undeniably. You should be more careful with your committees.
She's phoning her lawyer today.
I don't think you can cite an acronym as a correspondent.
She also said I was boring. Do you think I'm boring?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You do think I'm boring, don't you? It's Alice in Wonderland. Nothing makes any sense.
Did you expect things to make sense?
Well, yes, of course I do.
I'm not aware of a cure for that condition, Vice-Chancellor. What are you up to?
Plan B. A woman's got to do what a woman's got to do.
Come in.
Telephone call for you, sir.
That's exciting, don't you think?
Diane? Forgive me. Your voice is much too deep. Are you sure you mean me? Does this happen very often?
Rings all day sometimes, other days not.
Anonymous calls threatening your customers. Saying get the hell out of town in 24 hours or we break your legs.
No, sir, we don't get too many of those.
It's
Not likely to help the tourist trade in the area.
Yes!
Good. For a moment, I thought you might be late.
Is that all you have to say?
Sorry. Good morning, Diane.
Probably because of you, I've been suspended indefinitely.
And told to leave town.
No. Leaving town was my decision.
I see. That's different. I was told.
Who told you?
An anonymous caller. He didn't give a name, but wants to break my legs.
It's weird.
It's predestination.
Do you know the way to the Orkneys?
The road to the Isle. Yes. It's due north.
Then you can drop me off in Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury?
Cheer up.
I'm sorry. I had hoped that our predestination might have stretched a little further than Shrewsbury.
How far had you in mind?
Oh, for all eternity, something of the sort. And besides...
You know something very funny about sex.
I had read about the great University of Life on T-shirts, but I now seem to be a fully paid-up member. It made a change from comparative religion. Even I could spot the difference. Yes, indeed.